I can tell you in the U.S., more than 37 million people suffer from migraines.
And is it different than a headache? I mean, if not having a migraine, I understand it just as huge. Yeah, I can't even relate because I don't get them.
Let's talk to the experts on this. I found a company that was referred to me by, I believe it was a listener or a viewer. PuraMed BioScience is the name of the company. PuraMed BioScience. Their stock symbol PMBS. That's P as in Paul, M as in Mark, B as in Bravo, S as in Sam. PMBS. I'd like you to take a look at their website as well. PuraMed. Can you put PuraMedBioscience.com? Put up the website for the television audience there. But I can tell you, I had no idea the amount of Americans that suffered from this until I started talking to Russ Mitchell. He's the managing director of PuraMed. He joins us today. Russ, thanks for swinging by the program today, man.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Hey, listen. So,
are you a migraine sufferer yourself?
No, I'm not, but my daughter does.
Is that how you guys started with this? Was it because I've heard that people with family members that have this, it's like watching someone and you can't do a thing about it. Is that right?
It's true. About 70% of the people that suffer from migraines also have an immediate family member that suffers as well. So it's very genetic.
The interesting part of this is I don't know. Maybe you can tell us. Is it specific to a gender? Is it specific to a lifestyle? I mean, who gets
race?
These? Who gets these things?
Yeah. Well, it's primarily a women's disease in adulthood. About 75% of the people that suffer are women between the ages of 15 and 55.
That explains it, Nailz.
Well, there we go. All the women I've had to deal with in my life. No. Yeah. So women primarily getting the migraine. And again, a migraine more serious than just like, I got a little headache?
Oh, it's much more serious. In fact, the World Health Organization determined that it was one of the most debilitating diseases on the planet. Wow. And a person under a migraine attack is actually can't function similar to a person that's a quadriplegic. So it's very debilitating.
Wow. Let's talk about the company PuraMed BioScience. You folks are a pharmaceutical company. You specialize in over-the-counter drugs, and you're dedicated, obviously, to migraine is one of these things that you put together for LipiGesic M. Talk to us about the company as a whole, and then talk to us about the products.
Sure. Well, we founded the company in 2006, and we went public in the summer of 2008, just in time for the market crashing. So that was an interesting experience.
Yeah. But that should say a lot about your company, because considering you're still here. I mean, you started. The company founded probably the worst economic time in most of our adult life, and and yet you're still here and you're thriving. That says a lot about your market size. It says a lot about your company.
It does. I mean, it's a lot of dedicated people involved in this project. It's been a long time coming, but the product stands on itself because it works so well.
So let's talk about the LipiGesic M, and I'm already getting emails from Armed Forces guys because it's interesting, and I want to talk about the Armed Forces push you're doing just in a minute. But talk about LipiGesic M, because we're showing for our TV audience. They can see the graphic of the LipiGesic product there. For our radio audience, it's homeopathic migraine relief. So this is in the homeopathic space. Explain that for us, Russ.
Sure. Well, homeopathic medicine has been around for a long time. It's considered to be an over-the-counter drug in the United States, and we actually did studies that went way beyond what's normally required for homeopathic drugs, and we published successful studies in top-tier medical journals done by world-class headache specialists. So we're maybe a small company, but we're doing big work.
Does this come into a remedy then category? I think isn't what they call the meds in that homeopathy?
No, we're considered actually a drug. We're legally described as a drug, similar to what like an over-the-counter pain reliever or things like that. So it's very much a drug.
How did you guys develop this thing? I mean, because obviously there's a secret sauce in here that nobody figured out before. You guys got some. You guys have good success rates. So I want to ask two things. First of all, how did you guys start the thing, and how does that compare to, let's say, some of the drugs on the market? I read about Cafergot, and there's a couple other ones that are vasodilators that directly deal with vascular issues as it relates to headaches. How does yours differ from that, Russ?
Sure. Well, I developed the initial water-based formula actually in 2002, and then in 2006 I was able to find an oil. It's actually a high-grade olive oil to use as a base, and it worked out to be much better. We've done studies with both versions, and they were both successful, but the oil has a lot of advantages. As far as how it compares to what's out there right now, we actually, based on our results, are as effective, if not more effective, than the leading prescription drug. But the advantages are not only the fact that you don't need a prescription, it's across the board. It works faster because it's actually a gel that you put under your tongue, so it's sublingually delivered, so it works much faster and as far as getting into the bloodstream. It's very safe. It has a very low cost compared to even the generic prescription drugs.
So let me see. So you're better, you're faster, you're stronger, and you're cheaper. I would say that's all the boxes are checked there, but
still here. Good job.
I want you to go to PuraMed. First of all, a couple of things. I want to give you the stock symbol. PMBS is the stock symbol on this company, and it's PuraMed BioScience. PuraMedBioscience.com. That's singular, by the way. PuraMedBioscience.com. Joining us today, Russ Mitchell. He is the managing director of the company. Russ, how did you go from? How did you go from this water-based thing to this oil-based thing? I mean, is this just a matter of try and try again? Is this a matter of throwing enough veritable scientific stuff against the wall till it sticks? How do you guys go about developing something like that?
Well, the original water-based formulation I came up with, but I had always thought that an oil-based would be better. I just couldn't find the right oil to work. Mm-hmm. But the olive oil offered a number of advantages, including it opens up the blood vessels at the site much quicker, and it also contains natural pain-relieving elements itself. I have
an email coming in from Ryan Alvarez here, and Ryan asks who suffers from migraines. In other words, how do you develop what triggers migraines? He uses the word trigger. So, what triggers migraines?
Oh, there could be a whole host of things that trigger it, which makes it so difficult to treat, which makes our product so exceptional. It could be food, it could be red wine, lack of sleep, stress.
I got them all.
Yeah, exactly. So you should be getting migraines, but we've got a product that'll help you.
You know, I've got a listener out of Spokane, Washington, named David Pash here. David Pash asks a pretty interesting question. He wonders what the productivity loss is for migraines every year in the workplace. Think about that. You know, because people work through them, as well as people having to take days off for them. Wonder what that translates to dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, the migraine headache is considered the most costly brain disorder in the United States. Last year, it cost the economy over $50 billion in treatment costs, as well as lost productivity. The average yearly loss is 157 million workdays each year. So
wait a minute. Repeat that number in workdays again. How many workdays again?
157 million workdays lost each year.
Oh my goodness,
that's a ton.
Yeah, that's so. Is it being taken? You know, it's so interesting because just you don't hear. I have not heard about migraines being that debilitating. You know, you hear about the flu, you hear about the colds, you hear about strep throat, you hear about
hangovers.
You apparently hear more about hangovers than most of us do.
Yeah.
But I never had any idea that. The name of the company, by the way, is PuraMed BioScience. Go to PuraMedBioscience.com, and their stock symbol PMBS. Russ Mitchell is with us. We're going to join him again at 51 past the hour here. I want to talk to him a little bit about how they got started, their management team, and the overall market size for this thing. Because the market size for this is larger than you might think.
Yeah, we've learned that you have a cool product, and if you're an idiot, you can't market it. Like if I had the product, it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
also smart guys around the lunchroom.
And I got a bunch of armed forces guys emailing how they can get the product. We're going to tell you how to get the product at 51 past the hour.
I would imagine a gun going off in your arms constantly would give you a little headache.
Ow! Hey.
Got a little headache.
Give me some LipiGesic, would you? Big Biz Show, BigBizShow.com. 91% of people who have migraines miss work or can't function normally during a migraine attack. More than 70% have a family history of migraines. 70% of all migraine sufferers are women. And 63% have one or more migraine attacks monthly. Chris Janickas, our director here on television for the last 6 years, came in and said it is worse than a hangover. Which is something that Rusty Nailz can relate to.
Vomiting, body aches. It's not just a little, ow.
The vomiting body aches were a punk band in the 80s, by the way.
Were they good?
But I can tell you, it's interesting. And as we kind of dip into this, it kind of tells you about how big this market size could be. You know, in investing, and I've got a venture background, and what you look at when you're investing in a deal is the first thing you look at is the management team. You look at who's in the lunchroom. You bet, exactly. You bet on the jockey, not the horse. Who's in the lunchroom?
Right.
And then the second thing you look at is the size of the market. Russ Mitchell's the CEO of PuraMed BioScience. I erroneously called him managing director, but he's the CEO of PuraMed BioScience. Their stock symbol PMBS. And if you go to their website, PuraMedBioscience.com. You can learn all about their products. Of course, their LipiGesic M. LipiGesic M is the product. And of course, the emails I'm getting already are how you get the product. Russ, first of all, before I jump into the market size and who you guys are and how and everything else, how do people get this? Is it on the shelves yet? People can get it online? How does that work?
They can buy it either at nationwide in all the Walgreens pharmacies and also in all the CVS pharmacies.
A couple of big ones.
We're available in all 50 states. Mm-hmm. And they can also order it online as well.
Yeah, talk to us. We do have a large military audience, as you know, with American Forces Radio, and God bless our military men and women for serving our country overseas and underway. And my question is, with respect to the military, combat veterans are one of those affinity groups that tends to get migraines.
Well, that's absolutely correct. In fact, a study was published about 2 years ago that showed that combat veterans coming back had twice as likely possibility of developing migraines as the normal population. So that's a big deal. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Russ, I guess my question for you is when with respect to entering into this market. I mean, let's face it. You're going into a market, and you did at a tumultuous time. There's a lot of companies out there in the homeopathic space. There's a lot of companies out there in the pain relief space. Did that ever concern you guys, or did you guys know all along you had something that, as I described before, was bigger, better, faster, stronger, and cheaper?
We knew about 10 years ago that we had something that could work very well. And we have a very experienced team among us, and we've done this before with other products.
Oh, here I see a little picture of it here. Now it's a packet. It looks like it's a liquid that.
It's a gel. Yeah, it's sublingual. That means under the tongue. Correct?
That's correct. It's a gel that you squirt under the tongue, hold it for 60 seconds, and swallow.
And that's and that's it. And then how long does it take to get results out of that?
Yeah.
Well, that's the really cool part, is that because it's sublingually delivered, it's a very efficient way to deliver drugs. Think of nitroglycerin and heart attacks. That's what they do. You put it under the tongue to get it in there very fast.
Yeah. Under the tongue.
Let me ask you something, Russ. With respect to drug versus pain relief. Talk to us about FDA. Is there an FDA function you have to go through?
We have to comply with all existing monographs that the FDA laid out for homeopathic drugs, so we have to follow all the rules just like everybody else. In fact, we've gone beyond that by conducting a lot of additional studies as if it were a prescription drug.
Now, and does that help with the marketing side of this thing for you guys, the fact that you guys have gone above and beyond? But, or is it just the fact that it works? Because at some point, when the government gets out of the way and they actually let you do what you're supposed to do out there, the public determines whether it works or not. As a result of where you guys are distributing, it obviously does work. So is it helping you to continue these testing, or is it just something to improve the product?
It helps a lot, because it's one thing to tell people that that it works by telling them it worked on my sister or my neighbor.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different item to have studies done by world-class headache specialists and published in top-tier medical journals as if it were a high-end prescription drug. So instead of answering the question, does it work, by telling, it works on my neighbor, you say, well, according to the world-class scientists, it works as
gotcha.
well.
How about a regular headache? You're just kind of not feeling good?
Yeah, it's interesting. Does that treat regular headaches? Or is it criteria
it's actually
specific?
a migraine-specific headache, but you guys mentioned hangovers, which is kind of a funny thing, because
not so funny here, Val.
And a hangover headache actually develops similarly, so it actually can stop a hangover headache in minutes.
Russ is going to Walgreens right now.
I would be hugging you if you were in the studio right now, Russ.
You changed the box on that thing, Russ, and I think you double your sales as well. You got two different products on the market at the same time.
I got an idea.
We've thought about it. We actually tried it out with some kids down on spring break, and they loved it.
Perfect.
That is creative marketing.
So loading up.
Hey, listen, before I let you out of here, you did mention the management team and the team behind this thing. Talk to us about your team a bit. Feature one of the two folks that's helped you guys come along so far.
Well, obviously, one of my directors, Chuck Phillips, he was with me when we launched a product called Coldies. Actually, we worked together on that, which is the first homeopathic drug to be mainstream in the United States. We've got top-notch salespeople, a guy named Art Peroni, who's a one-man machine when it comes to retail. We've got, obviously, top-notch marketing folks as well. Our team from Envision has done a great job.
Yeah, the interesting part about that is it's really is the jockey, not the horse, that gets these things going at the same time to get you to market, and then once you get to market, it's it comes down to how you guys execute. So we're going to cover these guys. We're going to have these guys on again, hopefully to get to talk Russ into coming into San Diego, which is normally it's not that difficult.
Right, and I'll be doing some research over this weekend. I'll get a hangover and just try to bring it back with the product. I'm here for you.
Yeah, you just field tester.
That's
Russ
me.
T. Nailz.
Here to help.
LipiGesic M. So listen, let's talk two things. I want you to look at this as a company. PuraMed BioScience.com. Their stock symbol PMBS. But also go pick it up. Go to the CVS nearest you, and I believe
Walmart.
you said Walgreens and
Walgreens,
yeah, LipiGesic M for migraines, and of course Russ will be field testing it for some other uses as early as maybe tomorrow. Russ, you think
I could get started. In fact. See ya.
There you go. Yeah, Russ Mitchell, by the way, CEO of the company PuraMed BioScience, and what's interesting to me is when I look at companies like this, what I look at the size of the market that it goes into.
Yeah.
I just pulled up the size of the homeopathic market just in the United States alone, approaching a $30 billion market.